Anandam Paramasukadam Kevalam Jnanamurtim Dvandvatitam Gagana Sadrisham Tattvamasyadilaksham Ekam Nityam Vimalamachalam Sarvadi Sakshi Bhutam Bhavatitam Trigunarahitam Sadgurum Tam Namami. Nithyanandam, we welcome all the viewers who have joined us live today across all the social media platforms. Today is a very special occasion. Today is a day KAILASA all over the world are observing the day of Vijayotsavam, which translates into the festival of victory. Today is the day which marks the Hindu Holocaust Observance Day, also known as the Anti-Spiritual Elements Suicide Day. And this is the day today which marks the victory of the forces of Dharma against the forces of Adharma. That is the victory of the forces of righteousness over the forces of collective negativity. And as we go along in the show, we will narrate to you the story of the untold story, rather, of the biggest genocide, the biggest Holocaust in the history of the mankind, which is the Hindu Holocaust, culminating today in the relentless persecution of the reviver of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam. His persecution, the persecution of his community as well by these Hindumisic forces, the anti-Hindu forces who have been operating not just for decades and centuries but for millennia, who wanted and have been wanting to destroy Sanatana Hindu Dharma from planet Earth so that the Enlightenment sciences cannot be preserved, cannot be protected on the planet Earth. And today is the day which marks the victory of the forces which are continuously working towards protecting the Enlightenment ecosystem on planet Earth, now being led by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism himself through the revival of KAILASA. So this is the day today we mark as the day when we not only remember the persecution of the generations, countless generations of Hindus, the sacrifices that they have made, and now even the revival of the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, even his efforts being challenged and attacked by the same forces operating even today. But we also observe the day today, we celebrate the victory of the forces of KAILASA, the forces of the Dharma against these forces of Adharma, against these anti-Hindu forces, and we will narrate to you how we have been victorious in this war between Dharma and Adharma. So we will begin by telling you a story in brief about the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization, KAILASA, as it existed in the golden age around the time of Mahabharata, when we had 56 nations with Hinduism as the state religion, which unfortunately now has reduced to 0. Of course, just before KAILASA was created. So starting with this journey, I welcome Srinitya Sarveshwarananda to give you a short glimpse about this golden age of the Hindu civilization and the 56 Hindu nations and the story of what happened after that.
At the end of Mahabharata war, which is around 2500 BCE, there were 56 Hindu nations, 200 states, 1500 provinces, more than 10,000 sampradayas, that is Hindu traditions, which existed over 6 million kilometers square of Asia. This was a vast area where Dharma prevailed, where Hinduism was the state religion, where the great tenets of Hinduism, the scriptures, the signs of living enlightenment were practiced and flourished. However, over the past 2000 years particularly, this 56 Hindu nations were wiped off from the face of planet Earth, with the last Hindu nation being wiped off in the year 2007. And finally, at that point, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism started the revival of KAILASA. Now let us see what happened in these 2000 years of Hindu genocide. So we just saw a very short glimpse. Once Hinduism was a state religion in 56 Hindu nations spanning almost 6 million kilometers square of Asia. And then over the period of nearly 2000 years, they are completely wiped off from the face of planet. Now we'll visit region by region to see what happened. We'll start with the region of Gandhar, presently, which is approximately around Afghanistan. Gandhar has been mentioned in the great Puranic history, Hindu history of Mahabharata. where Gandhari, the Queen Gandhari, plays a very important role. Once Gandhar was a Hindu nation, till very recently, around 600 CE, hardly 1400 years ago, Gandhar was a Hindu nation, primarily having Hindu and Buddhist population, where Buddhism is also originated from Mahanirvani Akhada, the apex body of Hinduism. However, over time, today, there is almost less than 1% Hindu population. We'll go on and see what happened in more detail. We'll be moving on to the next geographic location.
Yes. So now moving to the another example of how this whole expanse of the Hindu civilization in the ancient times has been completely reduced to almost nil in the modern era. We can take another example, for example, is Sri Lanka, right? So Sri Lanka, it is also mentioned in the famous epic, the Itihasa, the Ramayana, when the king Ravana, his abode was the Lanka at that time, and it forms one of the main geographical regions in the entire the area, the geography of the Hindu civilization at that time. Around 5,000 or between 5,000 and 6,000 BCE, that's where the entire story of Bhagwan Sri Ramachandra Prabhu, the incarnation of Sri Mahavishnu, he happened and he defeated the king Ravana, marching all the way from the Ayodhya to the Lanka in the south. This entire history has been captured very vividly in the Hindu scriptures. And if we move further down the timeline of history, what do we see? For example, in 271 BCE, Lanka becomes a part of the Mauryan Empire, one of the largest empires in the medieval, the Bharat, the history of the medieval Bharat. And talking about more recent historical occurrences, it became also a part of the Chola Empire, again a Hindu empire. But now Sri Lanka has, even the population, if we see the population of Hindus in Sri Lanka, how it has been earlier from 1000, around 1000 CE all the way down to now to the current era, it has reduced from 100% down to around 25% in the beginning of the 20th century, around 1915, when the census, the data has recorded 25% Hindu population, and in 2012, only 12.6% Hindus population has been recorded, and now while we are speaking, a huge decline again has occurred in the Hindu population in the Sri Lanka. Today. So likewise, example after is how this reduction of the practitioners of the ancient Sanatana Hindu Dharma has occurred from in various geographies, various territories, various nations, one by one.
Moving on to Pakistan, the present region around Pakistan, which once was part of various Hindu nations. In fact, when we go back and read the Mahabharata story, the Mahabharata history, we find that literally the epicenter of all activities is much more near to the present day Pakistan. So it is almost like the center of the 56 Hindu civilizational nations shifted towards the right. One full part was lost in the course of history. There were many the ones where it was at the center of the Hindu civilization, from where the Hindu civilization literally expanded to the entire South Asian continent. Around that region, today there is no Hindu nation. And we will be moving on to the other incidences.
Yes. So even when we talk about the entire timeline of the Hindu Holocaust, Hindu genocide, so we can actually divide it into various phases, right? So somewhere from Mahabharata till around the modern era, around the time of the world wars, the Hindu civilization faced major attacks in various series of attacks rather. First starting with the Greeks and the Huns, all the various kingdoms from outside the epicenter where Hinduism was followed. After that came the invasions from the Islamic invasions, followed by the colonial era. Again, breaking down the entire fabric of Hindu society, Hindu economy, bit by bit, making the people completely destitute, losing their identity, losing their culture, losing their way of life. Sorry for the technical glitch. So as we were running down through the timeline of the Hindu Holocaust, till around the time of World War II, the Hindu civilization had been completely, we would say, destituted and reduced to a very weak, not just economically, but even in the way of the identity and the way people looked at themselves in a very negative and in a very low self-esteemed way. And after the World War II, in the post-colonial era as well, this attack on the Hindu civilization continues even till date. And this attack came not only in the form of physical genocides, physical massacres against the Hindu population, but also in the form of the psychological warfare, attacks. We have seen massacres after massacres happening where Hindu ecosystems were existing. All the way, if we start taking examples, the Direct Action Day or the partition of Bharat into India and Pakistan, and even after that, the Noakhali massacre, which happened around 1920s or 30s. The Mopla massacre, again leading to a genocide of the Hindu population in that era. All the way, if we move further, even at that time, there was a attack on Kashmir, the Hindus of Kashmir, in the district of Rajouri as well. In the district, in the town of Rajouri, there was a huge massacre by the external barbarian forces, the anti-Hindu forces, who came and completely destroyed the Hindu communities which were settled in that area. And even later on,
now moving on to the genocide which happened in the eastern part of South Asia, South Asian subcontinent around Bangladesh. Once upon a time, Bangladesh was part of Kashi Sarvangapitha. Very few of us know that the Kashi Empire existed all the way down the valley of the Ganga, the basin of Ganga, which is presently part of Bangladesh, and it was the epicenter of the world's most ancient Hindu civilization around Varanasi. Many of us might think that Varanasi is quite far, but that is the expanse of the Varanasi, Sarvangapitha and Varanasi kingdom, ancient kingdom. This very heart we have witnessed. Around 1971, in the 1971 Hindu genocide, around 30 lakh, that is 3 million gang raped, suffering unimaginable sexual violence and war crimes waged on their bodies. Around 30 million, 3 crore innocent lives Hindus were displaced. We know that once this entire region was a Hindu nation. At around 1000 CE, 100% of the population was Hindu. By 1951, around 22% of the population only remained Hindu. And as we go ahead in time, it's less than 10%. This was once upon a time literally the epicenter of the most ancient Hindu kingdom, Kashi Sarvangapitha, the Kashi civilization. And we can see the picture of this is a real picture of the women who suffered the war crimes. Literally, we must understand the war was not waged on the geography alone. The war was waged on the bodies of Hindu mothers, Hindu sisters, Hindu daughters who suffered this unimaginable genocide, whose bodies were the battleground. We see the picture of the brave Hindu women who faced the most barbaric persecution. Moving on to other regions such as Kashmir.
Yes, Kashmir has been also of the world. In fact, for more than 10,000 years, Hindus have been living peacefully in the Kashmir area and also practicing and working towards the science of enlightenment, working towards the development of the science of enlightenment, and a very powerful flourishing ecosystem existed there all the way from even before the time of Mahabharata, all the way till the medieval era, around which the time the barbaric invasions into the Kashmir area started, and the whole genocide of the Hindu population also began around that time. One after the other, various barbaric rulers entered into the area of Kashmir and started not just persecuting but literally massacring the practicing Hindu. Known for his acts of destroying Hindu temples and Hindu murtis, the Hindu idols. He was given this name of Butchikan from that very heinous crime of destroying the Hindu temples and Hindu murtis of Devis and Devatas of Hinduism who were present and flourishing in the Hindu temples of that time in Kashmir. And it's also a well-known fact that the famous Martanda temple in Kashmir was destroyed by the same tyrant Sikandar Butchikan, and he set the temple on fire. And it was such a great and marvelous wonder, this temple, that it took around 6 months for this temple to burn completely. And we find these kinds of heinous and barbaric, hateful acts done against the peaceful Hindu population in various areas again and again, and so many other tyrants have also continued with this act of genocide against the Hindu population. Even when we talk about Kashmir, now has been reduced to less than 1%. And 7 times the Hindu population, the Hindus have been forced to flee from their homeland just for the reason of practicing their religion, practicing Hinduism.
In the pictures projected, we see that 2 children whose face are bloody with the mark of the violence, the war. We just saw how the bodies of Hindu mothers, Hindu sisters, Hindu daughters became the battleground in one of the worst genocides very recently, 1971. Now we are talking about 1998, where we see Hindu children and during various incidents, though the exodus, the forced persecution and exodus of the Kashmiri Hindus started much earlier, various terrorist attacks happened throughout the decades, where we see our Hindu children, Hindu families being brutally persecuted, and anecdotes which are chilling and shocking. Today, in this Hindu Holocaust Observance Day, we observe solidarity to the lives lost, and at the same time, we remind ourselves of the ultimate victory of truth, the ultimate victory of Devi, Chandika Parameshwari, the ultimate victory of cosmic justice, the ultimate victory of Dharma. It is these shocking violations of the fundamental and more on this. Going further, in the Hindu Holocaust, we'll run through the various massacres that happened over the period of 2000 years. In the chronicles of one of the tyrants, his court historian wrote a book called Tarikh-e-Farishte. In Tarikh-e-Farishte, the court historian claimed that their empire killed more than 400 million innocent Hindus. This is just one account. Ages after ages, we have seen several holocausts, several massacres, one after the other, where innocent lives were lost. You can see in the screen a list of few of the massacres that happened during this time.
years of British Raj. The Madras famine was spread over 6,70,000 square kilometers and claimed 5.5 million lives. The last one occurred in 1943 in Bengal.
More floods and more famine in a land swept by starvation. The death rate, already 1,000 a week, rises.
Yes. So as you all can see, which has been projected on your screens, the horrors of the famines where more than 100 people lost.
In the horrors of the Hindu Holocaust, Hindu genocide, in something which is unimaginable for we Hindus. We Hindus are known to provide all the survival needs completely free to humanity. Survival needs were never a subject of, even the currency transaction. They were always offered free or on a basis of barter. Food was never a reason why lives would be lost at such a mass scale. However, during the Hindu Holocaust, the entire food security infrastructure was broken because of the excessive taxes. Nearly it is recorded in various colonial era archival data and anecdotal references that the taxation during the colonial era and during the Hindu Holocaust, the tax that was levied on poor farmers was 3 times. Usually in Hindu kingdoms, when there was a famine or there was a drought, the taxes were completely cancelled. However, even during those tough times of drought, during the colonial era, the taxes remained to be 3 times higher than the normal, how it would be. Further exacerbating the situation, even making it more worse, during the situations of famine, large volumes of grains were exported, causing man-made famines. Like this, over almost 200 years, several man-made famines were created, killing more than 100 million Hindus. 100 million Hindus being killed just by starvation. Moving on to, as we had visited previously also, the various barbaric acts of violence, sexual violence against Hindu women. We see in the projected content a huge list of various acts, barbaric acts, where Hindus were enslaved and subjected to forced slavery, including sexual slavery, over the years, and all of this has been recorded with the number of victims mentioned in the records of the barbarians, in the records of the invaders, the Hindumisic anti-spiritual elements. Going on to the next chapter of the Hindu Holocaust, the loss of Hindu temples. Over the past 2000 years, and it continues even to date, several Hindu temples have been destroyed, have been vandalized, and even by using heavy earth movers and machinery, completely destroyed. This continues till date. We'll be looking at more of it. We'll be back very shortly. Please stay with us.
So we have just seen the entire timeline of the Hindu Holocaust, the Hindu genocide, various incidents at various points of time, describing the various acts of massacre against Hindus and various acts of subversion and other tools which have been used by the anti-Hindu forces to not just subjugate Hindus but eliminate Hindus entirely from the face of the planet Earth. And this effort has been an ongoing project from millennia and continues till date. And now, unfortunately, we don't have a single nation in the modern times which we can say has Hinduism as the official state religion. If we look at all the countries in the world today, there are around 30 countries which declare Christianity as their official state religion, right? And also we can look at other set of countries, for example, 40 countries which declare Islam as their state religion. And many other countries, some countries also declaring Buddhism as their state religions, countries such as Cambodia, which have Buddhism as their official state religion. Now the question is there even a single country, single nation which has declared Hinduism as the state religion? The answer is no. There is not even a single country which has Hinduism as the official state religion. The last one existing which had Hinduism as the state religion was the country of Nepal, but now even that doesn't have Hinduism as a state religion anymore. So this entire destruction of the Hindu ecosystem has happened throughout these centuries of Hindu Holocaust. And we have seen several examples, fortunately, across various times when attempts to revive the Hindu civilization, attempts to revive the Hindu nation have been led by the enlightened masters through the instruments which they used as the great kings, and happened again and again. Whenever the Hindu civilization went through an extreme downfall, we witnessed several examples of great enlightened masters which created ecosystems, which created kingdoms at that time to protect the Hindu population. For example, the kingdom of Vijayanagara was one of the earliest examples where we see that the revival of the Hindu tradition, the Hindu ecosystem, was initiated by the Hindu gurus. Because one important point which we need to note is that the authentic revival of the Hindu ecosystem can only be done by Hindu gurus, because Hinduism is an enlightened based ecosystem, enlightened based lifestyle, and only an enlightened being has the capacity, the power, and also the spiritual authority to revive and maintain the Hindu ecosystem. And of course, the kings, the Kshatriya part of the population definitely is responsible for the physical protection of the community. But the fundamental, the root of the Hindu revival has always been led by Hindu gurus. That's what makes the Hindu gurus most significant and most important in the entire story of Hindu Holocaust, and at the same time the revival, the attempts of revival of the Hindu civilization. Talking about the Vijayanagara kingdom, it was led by Swami Vidyaranya, who was an enlightened master, and he initiated the kings at that time, the founders of the Vijayanagara Empire, and they led the whole revival and the protection of the Hindu civilization against the attacks of the anti-Hindu forces. Moving on, we see another very famous and a very powerful example of the same revival happening, which was led by Swami Samartha Ramdas, another very powerful enlightened Hindu master, Hindu guru, who was the master of the great Hindu king Chhatrapati Shivaji. And it is because of his initiation and the powerfulness and the sense of purpose he gave to Shivaji, which made Shivaji as one of the most formidable rulers and the kings who led the whole revival of the Hindu civilizational nation at that time through the Maratha Empire. While the entire Hindu population was stooped in the darkness of the attacks by the anti-Hindu forces, he was the one who carried this fire of initiation from his guru, Swami Samartha Ramdas, and led the his entire kingdom, so to speak, in order to revive the whole Hindu civilizational nation. And we'll be moving on to more examples of how several attempts have been made in the history to revive the Hindu civilizational nation from the Hindu gurus.
Moving on to the great Sikh gurus who did the Sarva Parityaga. The Guru Gita from Bhagwan Paramashiva reveals that Guru is God. Paramashiva came down in various incarnations. The Sikh gurus took the responsibility during this Hindu Holocaust to protect the persecuted Hindus, and for their protection they did the Sarva Parityaga. We can see in the pictures the Khalsa Empire revived by the Sikh gurus, and we see a picture of Guru Tegh Bahadur. Guru Tegh Bahadur lost his life in persecution for defending and standing for Dharma. After he was brutally persecuted, the reason, the political justification by the barbarians, by the barbaric terrorists, was falsely written that Guru Tegh Bahadur Singh had done some kind of theft. So, after killing the great Hindu enlightened masters, the incarnation, the Sikh gurus, the anti-Dharmic forces, anti-spiritual forces wrote false narratives and gave false justification propaganda to justify their assassination, their murders by the deep state terrorists. One of the most well-known incidences was with Guru Tegh Bahadur. We know from the historical records, that after he was murdered, the chronicles of the Aurangzeb's court, in the historical records, it is mentioned that he was killed as he was executed after trial because of theft and all sorts of false reasons to defame and delegitimize the Sarva Parityaga of enlightened masters who protected Hinduism at various times. And it is from this empire revived by the great gurus that the last Hindu kingdom of Kashmir came. The last kingdom of Hinduism in Kashmir was an offshoot, a suzerain originating from the Khalsa Empire, and after that the persecution of Hindus started in the Kashmir Valley as well. In this picture which is projected alongside, we see a stamp paper of the government during a Hindu kingdom which reads Bhagwan Ram Sahai Jammu Kashmir Tibet Adi, which means by the grace of Bhagwan Ram, Hindu nations were led by Hindu kings as a suzerain, as a servant to God. There have been many incidences recorded. For example, the great king of Travancore, he offered the entire kingdom to Bhagwan Vishnu and he assumed the title as the servant of Padmanabha Swami. Like this, Hindu kings always surrendered their kingdom to God, to Paramashiva, and ruled on their behalf. The last such Hindu kingdom in the region of Kashmir was an offshoot from the Khalsa Empire, and after this we had, over the period of time, the last Hindu nation lost to Hinduism was Nepal in the year 2007. Now at this juncture, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism started the grand revival.
Yes. So we have seen example after example when various Hindu gurus, Hindu enlightened masters have taken the responsibility to revive the Hindu enlightened civilizational nation throughout this entire timeline of Hindu Holocaust, Hindu genocide, and taking it one step further and further in this collective effort and collective struggle to restore the dignity and human rights of the Hindu population, and at the same time to revive the authentic Hindu spiritual enlightenment based ecosystem on planet Earth. Right? We have seen, even apart from these examples that we have shared, various great Hindu masters and gurus who have taken the responsibility to guide the Hindu population out of their state of tamas and complete I would say low self-esteem, and not knowing the greatness of their culture and not realizing the responsibility and the purpose for which they have even taken birth in as a Hindu. We have seen examples, for example, Swami Vivekananda, Sri Aurobindo, Maharshi Mahesh Yogi, who have in their time span taken the responsibility to revive the Hindu ecosystem on planet Earth. And that takes us all the way down to the modern era, to the year 1978, when the descent of the avatar happened, when the descent of the avatar of Paramashiva happened on planet Earth. Now, setting the right context here, Paramashiva has promised in the Puranas, in the Hindu scriptures, he has given 3 promises that he will always be available in 3 forms for his disciples and devotees, and will keep the Hindu ecosystem alive on planet Earth. These 3 forms are the Adi Arunachala hill, which is present in the sacred town of Tiruvannamalai, which is an ancient spiritual Hindu ecosystem. Second promise, he will always be available in the form of the Arunachaleshwara Linga, in the form of the Shivalinga, Arunachaleshwara Linga in the Arunachaleshwara temple in the sacred town of Tiruvannamalai. And the third promise, that he will always be available in the form of an enlightened being, of his incarnation, to guide the people to their ultimate purpose in life, to achieve oneness with Paramashiva. These 3 promises make sure and have made sure throughout the entire timeline of the Hindu Holocaust that the Hindu ecosystem has been kept alive through an unbroken lineage of enlightened masters. Even at a very minuscule level, just at least the science of initiation and the science of enlightenment has been kept alive from the unbroken lineage of master to disciple. And now, to fulfill that promise, to revive the Sanatana Hindu civilization on planet Earth, and to complete the project which has been taken, which has been initiated and taken by various Hindu masters and Hindu gurus till date, to take it to success, to take it to fruition, Paramashiva himself has now landed on planet Earth, taking the responsibility in the form of his incarnation, the avatar, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, to revive the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilization, to revive Kailasa on planet Earth. And from the very childhood itself, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been involved in this process of revival of the Sanatana Hindu civilization. From a very young age, he has been trained by his enlightened masters who were there present in the spiritual ecosystem of Tiruvannamalai, who have trained him, groomed him into all the sciences and advanced fields in the whole span of Sanatana Hindu Dharma, giving him the adhikara to initiate others and revive the entire Hindu ecosystem on planet Earth. And till the year 2000, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been involved in one way or the other in this process of revival. But from the year 2000, he started his public life, and the grand revival of Kailasa actually began from that year in 2000. After which, we have seen several major contributions from the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, initiating millions into the science of enlightenment, in the science of Paramadvaita, guiding them, reviving the Hindu identity in the Hindu population. Year after year after year, we have seen millions and millions of people coming back to their powerful Hindu identity, realizing their purpose in life, realizing the greatness of the Hindu civilization. Several major steps were taken by the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. In the first decade of his public life, to put the current focus on, which were directly in tune and aligned with the revival of the Kailasa nation, the revival of the ancient enlightened Sanatana Hindu civilizational nation, which is Kailasa. In the year 2000, as a cost of this great attempt of the revival of Kailasa on planet Earth, the anti-Hindu forces also witnessed and saw this great revival happening and attacked and launched their vicious, poisonous attack on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, recognizing that he is successful in creating the Hindu nation Kailasa, which they do not want. Naturally, for centuries and millennia, they have been against this very civilization. So, because of their hatred, they launched a vicious attack against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in the year 2010. So, we will now be moving to the persecution that has happened on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, his contributions, and because of his contributions, relentless attacks in various forms which have happened one after the other on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and how, despite these attacks, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has been successful in the creation of the Kailasa nation, which is the first nation of Hindus in the modern day, and this victory of Kailasa over the anti-Hindu forces. So let's look at the history of the persecution of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Kailasa.
Moving on, as the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism started the grand revival of Kailasa around the year 2007, there were two extremely unfortunate tragedies against Hinduism. One was a genocide in around Sri Lanka, and other was that the last Hindu nation, Nepal, was no more a Hindu nation. Around this time, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism decided and started the revival of Kailasa, the great Hindu civilizational nation with political legitimacy, juridical statehood. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism around the year 2007 secured sovereign territory for Kailasa outside India around 2007. This irked the anti-Hindu terrorist forces. On one side, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was on a multi-year Vijayotsavam, a grand procession taking the deities Nithyanandeshwara, Nithyanandeshwari, Nithyanandeshwari Paramashiva Shakti and Nithyanandeshwara Paramashiva on a chariot all around, converting and bringing back, we should say not converting, but restoring Sanatana Hindu Dharma in various parts of South Asia. As this was happening on one side, and on the other side, the revival by securing a sovereign territory for a Hindu nation in the year 2007. This irked the Hindumisic terrorist forces, who launched a massive lawfare. We saw during the time of Guru Tegh Bahadur how there was an elaborate political Hindumisic justification propaganda that after he was unlawfully killed, false reasons were created by deep state Hindumisic elements to make it appear as if something wrong had been done. In a similar way, a big, massive lawfare involving vexatious litigations, malicious prosecution, and misuse of law as a weapon of war was used. In the year 2010, a false case, a false complaint of rape was registered, was filed against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, where nobody was mentioned as a victim. This was the first and is the first and the only false allegation of rape where nobody was mentioned as a victim. In fact, the original complaint did not even have the word rape anywhere mentioned. This was done in the guise, in the smoke screen of lies, smoke screen of defamation, using deep, fake, obscene, malicious videos to malign and defame the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and it started a long series of attacks. And this attack was over a long route of more than 3,000 kilometers, starting from Tiruvannamalai, going towards Bidadi, and then Hosur, moving on to Pondicherry, and going all the way till Haridwar. The Hindumisic terrorist tried to assassinate the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism through more than 100 assassination attempts. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was pushed in his living quarters in Bidadi and locked, and the hut was set on fire. The living quarters of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism in the headquarters of the spiritual mission was set on fire by the anti-Hindu terrorist forces. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism survived. The disciples broke the window from the toilet and saved the life of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. But that was not over. During this attack, on one side, we see that simultaneously more than 50 temples of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and Hinduism were dismantled overnight simultaneously. This shows that on the surface it might appear as a reaction, but it is impossible for an attack to happen simultaneously in 50 locations. It was a well-planned, coordinated attack, a cultural genocide where simultaneously overnight more than 50 temples were destroyed. In the smoke screen of lies, a Hindu cultural genocide was waged. We saw in the past how during Guru Tegh Bahadur, false propaganda was used to cover up for his assassination. This technique over the centuries was perfected and used against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Now, here is the most well-coordinated, sophisticated attack, well-planned. It involved Hindumisic terrorist elements, it involved Hindumisic media elements, it involved Hindumisic deep state elements, and a mafia to wage lawfare. To mention a particular incident, and there are many more such incidences, even before the attack happened on any of these Hindu temples, the media was present even before the attack with their cameras. This shows that it was well coordinated and they had prior information. In one such attack, in one of the temples and hospitals of KAILASA of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the media aired false news that the hospital, the temple and hospital had been set on fire. The doctor was watching the television and he was shocked that he's sitting perfectly fine, and how is it possible that the media is reporting that the attack is happening on his hospital, in the temple hospital campus. And then he went outside his house, called the police, and suddenly he observed a van, a media van of Sun TV standing outside, and he questioned them. They were caught red-handed. They tried to make excuses. Even the doctor devotee who was running that hospital and temple was not able to understand. But this revealed the deep conspiracy where it was extremely well planned and systematically orchestrated. There are many such incidences when the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was attacked in his living quarters, in the headquarters of the spiritual mission of KAILASA. Whole night, the militants stood waiting on the boundary walls, and once the attack started, the media was waiting with their cameras and started live. How is it possible that without having prior information, one side the attack is happening and other side the media is going live with their cameras? We see in the footage that is available from that era, we have two images from that era. One is of the media houses and the media persons themselves holding the camera and mic, going live with the assassination attempt, the brutal, inhuman assassination attempt of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. And on the other side, we see also the live footage as broadcasted on these television channels. Now, in this example, we have few select medias for whom we have the footage available. Unfortunately, not every single image is available to us. But the point is, the media which we are shown is not the only one. It is not just the TV9 or some particular channels, but a very complex Hindumisic gang which has infiltrated the media, which has infiltrated as deep state elements across various pillars of democracy and is waging this war against Hinduism. On one side, we see the law enforcement officers who were much behind the media, as we can see from the images projected. And on the other side, The media is literally at the forefront going live with the assassination attempt. This shows the extent to which how this was an organized systematic attack which was portrayed as a reaction. It is impossible for this to be a reaction. Simultaneously 50 cities being attacked. This goes further. When we see the footage of the attack, we see a cameraman and a media person holding a mic. If we observe the logo, the television channel logo on the mic, and we go forward to 3,000 kilometers after the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was escaped from the burning house, his residential quarters. He was forced to flee over 3,000 kilometers to Haridwar. The media came following all the way till Haridwar, right outside the room of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and standing outside the Haridwar hotel, the exact same media. This shows the attack was well planned, very sophisticated and highly organized. Now, during all this time, the anti-Hindu elements who were against the revival of the Hindu nation, KAILASA, they thought that by attacking Paramashiva, they will win. However, eventually, as the only victory is of truth, ultimately the cosmic justice won. On 2nd March 2010, this massive attack which we saw happened, where more than 50 temples were simultaneously attacked, and today is the 2nd of March, and is observed as Vijayotsavam and the Hindu Holocaust Observance Day. Today is the date when the Hindumisic terrorist elements thought by attacking Paramashiva they will win. However, as the cosmic justice is the only truth which prevails, ultimately it led to their own destruction. Their karma came against them and they were all destroyed. Now, before we look at how this destruction happened, let us understand how this attack itself happened. The Hindumisic terrorist elements used false propaganda and false, obscene, deepfake, malicious video to start a big defamation campaign, to defame the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and spread numerous lies and created a smokescreen. In this smokescreen of lies, they filed a false charge of rape. The only case of rape where nobody was mentioned as a victim of rape. This is the only such case in the history of humanity where a rape case was filed with nobody mentioned as a victim. In the projected images, we see how they used video morphing, deepfake technology available during that time to create a deepfake video of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Eventually, it was proven false by various forensic agencies. But we'll step one step back and look at how the false allegations were created against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. It started with registration of a false allegation of rape against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, where there was not even a victim of rape mentioned. This was filed by a male, and this is something which very few people know. After this, the complaint was transferred from one part of the country to the other part of the country to displace the responsibility of registering a false complaint of rape where there was not even a mention of a victim. With the smokescreen of lies created using the deepfake video, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was illegally arrested. During this illegal arrest, various false allegations were made throughout the media. Finally, when the matter was in front of the High Court of Karnataka, the judge asked, "Who is the victim?" There was no answer. The authorities very silently slipped a piece of paper to the court, a memo, where they said that they investigated and questioned more than 50 witnesses, and all of them gave statements supporting the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, and they did not have even one witness, let alone a victim. Throughout this period of several months, various advertisements were put on the television and the print media. We see one of the newspapers from that era being projected. The headlines read, Paisa feko tamasha dekho. Throw money and watch the show, the entertainment show. Literally trying to offer various kinds of bribe publicly in the name of travel expenses and other expenses. But throughout, nobody came and claimed the false charges of rape were true. The High Court of Karnataka came down heavily. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was being subjected to various inhumane conditions, and the High Court expressed strong exception and criticism, asking how long did the authorities intend to torture the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism based on suspicion. This statement was a public statement made by the judge, which came out in the newspaper also. And this was the time when the false case was about to be quashed completely. And here, after 8 months of malicious, vexatious litigation, false allegations and accusations, lawfare, after 8 months, the Hindumisic terrorist brought forward someone to press the false allegations of rape, who came forward as a witness and not even as a complainant. Now, this false claimant of rape filed the same claim. This false complainant of rape was a US citizen who pressed and made the same false allegations of rape in the United States, for which the Ohio court penalized her around $500,000 US. We shall see the orders projected. The Ohio Civil Court order, case number CV 526, which was ruled in the year around 2013. The Ohio Civil Court penalized the false accuser of rape $500,000 US for making false and defamatory allegations of rape. So now, the baseless false allegations should have ended, but the Hindumisic elements, in their delusional arrogance, did not stop and kept on attacking. One side, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism kept on reviving KAILASA. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was coronated as the Guru Mahasannidhanam of Madurai, Shamla Pitha, Sarvanya Pitha. This again irked the Hindumisic terrorist elements, as they saw that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, one after the other victory, after each victory, he was again reviving the Hindu civilizational nation, and this time reviving the Shamla Pitha, Sarvanya Pitha. This irked the Hindumisic terrorist elements, and they attacked again. The Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was unlawfully arrested. In the next victory, we will see that the High Court of Karnataka came down heavily against this unlawful arrest and termed this unlawful arrest as illegal, arbitrary, abuse of power without any authority of law, and done completely against law. These words are exact quote from the order of the Honorable High Court of Karnataka. We shall look at some of the highlights of the order in the case number 3287, the writ petition 3287 of 2012, the High Court of Karnataka came heavily against this illegal arrest. After this legal victory, again the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism started reviving not one but 4 Hindu kingdoms. The Hindu kingdoms of the 4 ancient kingdoms in Tanjore, Vedaranyam, Panchanadikulam, Tiruvarur. At this time, the anti-Hindu elements, again infuriated, started their next level of attack. On one side, the false accuser of rape had been already penalized $500,000 for making the false allegations of rape. That means the lawfare should have ended, and it had practically ended, but on paper. The Hindumisic deep state elements kept on prolongating this persecution, infuriated by one after the other victory of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. In the year 2014, in again the delusional arrogance, the deep state elements forced the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to undergo a barbaric medical examination for potency test and gender assessment. The Hindumisic terrorist elements thought that they would be able to win. Now, before we go into the details of this matter, we have to understand step by step. When the first attack happened and the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was illegally arrested, they thought they had won, but on the contrary, they were completely discredited in the High Court of Karnataka, who questioned on what authority, on what basis the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was arrested, and termed his arrest as unlawful, and termed that how long they would continue to torture the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Second time, when they tried to sustain their false allegation through a false accuser of rape, the false accuser of rape ended up with $500,000 of penalty for making false allegations of rape. Going further, they again try to persecute the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism even more with a barbaric potency test. And here is what happened. The attack again fired back against them. The potency tests revealed that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was not only incapable of the acts for which the false allegations were made, it very shockingly revealed something even more. Now, if you look at the graph, we see in a dark red line, starting at around 250 nanograms per deciliter up to 1000 nanograms per deciliter, it shows the testosterone range for a normal male person. Going to the right, we see in the blue bar the testosterone levels for a newborn baby, which is around maximum of 400 nanograms per deciliter. And then we go for the women, it is around 80 nanograms per deciliter. But for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, it is less than 13 nanogram per deciliter, which is so less. It is called anechoic levels of testosterone. Now, this proves that the allegations of rape are false, but there is something more shocking which came out because of this report. This revealed that not only the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism is incapable of rape, he has been impotent, medically impotent, which actually in true sense is a manifestation of the Divya Sharira, the body of an enlightened master. His body is fundamentally incapable and has been incapable of the sexual acts for more than a decade. And this is not a matter of opinion. It is not a matter of a statement which an expert would give. It is a scientific fact which was proven by this potency test. We had more than 7 forensic experts, urologists, sexologists from around the world who claimed and who proved that this allegations of rape are false, because fundamentally, scientifically, it is impossible for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to be capable of such acts, and he has been incapable for more than 10 years, which means that all the allegations of rape are false, and it is proven scientifically. To quote the medical experts, we have Robert D. Loreto from the Michigan Institute of Urology. He says, in my medical opinion, it is impossible for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagwan Shri Nithyananda Paramashivam, Swami Nithyananda, to have committed the sexual acts he is accused of. He very clearly mentions that the medical records show that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has extremely low level of testosterone, and very particularly he mentions that such low levels of testosterone are impossible to be achieved overnight. It takes decades, it takes years for the testosterone level to go down so low. To read some specific statements from the affidavit, quote admissible affidavits of Dr. Robert. Dr. Robert says that the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism has testosterone which are below castration level, which essentially means that the absence of the male reproductive organs, it is even below that. And he says, notably, it takes years for hormone levels to go so low. So it is a phenomena which cannot happen overnight, but happened over decades. Now we'll go to the next medical expert, Mark W. Vogel, who explains that the levels of the testosterone for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism are anorchoid, below castration level. And he further explains other parameters like the luteinizing hormone, which reveal that psychologically also the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism had no ounce, not even a bit of sexual desire psychologically because of the extremely low luteinizing hormone. And he also clearly mentions that it is impossible for the hormone level to go so low. In the 17th paragraph in his affidavit, in the 17th paragraph, paragraph number 17 of his court admissible affidavit, which was submitted to the court, he says, it should be noted that it takes a long time for a hormone level to go so low. It is an indicator of a chronic disorder. What Dr. Mark Vogel is presenting, that not only the testosterone level of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism was so less today, that is as of 2014 when this test was done, it had to be less for almost a decade to come down so low. It proves that the allegations of rape are scientifically impossible. So as we see, one after the other, the more attacks the anti-Hindu spiritual elements waged against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, more and more they were proven false. We can go into the details, and we had Dr. Bradford T. Black, who reiterated the same, and he showed that the again that it is impossible for the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism to have committed any of the crimes. To quote his particular statement, the below normal test results mentioned in the medical records and mentioned herein do not occur overnight, but likely have existed for numerous years. So Dr. Bradford T. Black is repeating the same thing. Such low level of testosterone cannot happen overnight, but have existed for numerous years, where all the doctors have concluded unanimously that it has been for decades. And as per the facts of the life of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, we know that he has been carrying the Divya Sharira of an incarnation since childhood. And that is why even before adolescence, his body became a Divya Sharira, a light enlightened body, which has always been incapable of these false accusations that he's been accused of. We can go into the detail, but one after the other, medical experts kept on reiterating. More than 7 medical experts. We have Dr. Gerard Brock, we have Dr. Umakant Kent, and various other doctors. We have a Dr. Nair, Colonel Dr. Nair from the military. All of them unanimously reiterated the same thing. The Hindumisic deep state elements were thoroughly discredited as early as 2014. Following this, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism kept on reviving and expanding the Hindu nation and bringing political legitimacy to the Hindu nation of Kailasa and juridical statehood. Around 2014, he revived the 4 kingdoms of Hinduism. It continued with the revival of Swargapuram, Kailasa in Swargapuram, Sarvanya Pitha, and likewise the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism created another major kingdom, revived another major kingdom, and established the Yogini Sarvanya Pitha in the year 2019 to revive the female monastic orders of Hinduism, to revive the leadership, women leadership of Devi Parameshwari Shakti, and revive Hinduism. This again escalated the attacks against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. During the revival of Swargapuram, Sarvanya Pitha, around that time, assassins came inside the living quarters of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism and tried to kill him inside his room. Like this, throughout the past decade, more than 100 assassination attempts were made on the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism's life, and he was forced to withdraw from the main society. Now we'll be looking at the legal victories. One side, the Hindumisic forces thought that by attacking Paramashiva, they had won. On the other side, we'll see a series of destruction which happened. To give a summary, a broad overview of the destruction, more than 15,000 articles and almost equivalent number of hours of defamatory videos, defamatory news were broadcasted since the year 2010 against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. They were all thoroughly discredited. And being thoroughly discredited, the media houses unpublished their false statements. Likewise, the deep state elements used the deep fake video to attack the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. More than 100 deep fake videos were deleted, were unpublished by YouTube in a single day. The Hindumisic deep state elements published several videos. More than 500 videos were deleted by YouTube, and several of these Hindumisic anti-Hindu channels were terminated. These channels had a cumulative of 400 million subscribers. The anti-Hindu terrorist elements had filed more than 200 false cases and made more than 200, cumulatively more than 200 false allegations. All of them were dismissed. Not even a single one survived. And the Honorable Court, High Court of Karnataka, Honorable High Court of Gujarat, Honorable High Court of Madras, and the Ohio Civil Court, the Supreme Court, the Superior Court of California in two counties, in county of San Bernardino, and also the Superior Court in Washington. All these courts, whether it be in USA, India, Karnataka, Gujarat, or Tamil Nadu, all of them exonerated the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism of all these false allegations. During these court judgments, the judges very clearly, explicitly stated that the allegations filed against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism were false, they were vexatious, they were abusing the time of the court, they were abusing the process of justice, and were filed with malintentions. It did not stop here. More than 40 media channels were thoroughly discredited. 40 media channels lost a legal battle in the High Court of Karnataka in the writ petition 8619 of 2011 and in the writ petition 7767 of 2011, and were ordered by the High Court of Karnataka to publicly apologize during prime time. This was not over yet. The Hindumisic terrorist elements who had conspired along with the media were penalized. The media was penalized more than $5 million for defamation, which is equivalent to rupees 30 crore INR. The media was forced to pay this penalty, and media houses such as Samaya TV were forced into bankruptcy and had to shut down operations because of this court order, where the court penalized the media, the paid media, the Hindumisic terrorist media, 30 crore. This is the biggest legal victory against the paid media in India. It was not over. The Hindumisic terrorist elements who were behind this conspiracy, the main conspirators, were penalized almost more than $1 million, which is more than rupees 3 crore, for all their crimes of defamation and all their violence involving attacks. And 3 of the conspirators ended up in jail. This was in case number PCR 183 of 2011 in Ramanagara Court of Karnataka, and the other one was in the Superior Court of Washington in the case number 101. We are projecting the cases in front of you. So 3 of the main conspirators ended up in jail. So more than 100 assassination attempts were made. More than 15,000 false news was used to attack the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. More than 200 false cases were used to attack him. All of it failed. The anti-Hindu terrorists thought by attacking Paramashiva they will win. But their karma came back to them. 3 of them went to jail. All of them put together had to pay more than $7 million in penalty. Several media houses had to stop operations and were shut down. Several YouTube channels were terminated. And finally, KAILASA, the United States of KAILASA, the revival of the great Hindu civilizational nation with political legitimacy and juridical statehood, happened. In the year 2018, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism revived KAILASA with international sovereign territory and further expanded it to multiple sovereign territories by the year 2024, and KAILASA is expanding. This is the story of Vijayotsavam. One side, the gory Hindu Holocaust, and on the other side, the ultimate victory of Dharma despite the relentless persecution.
Yes. So with this, we now move to the celebration, the ritualistic celebration of Vijayotsavam. The KAILASA temples all over the world today are celebrating Vijayotsavam, that is the victory of KAILASA against the anti-Hindu, the anti-spiritual forces. And we will be celebrating this great day of Vijayotsavam by the enactment of the happening of Surasamharam, which is a ritualistic representation of the continuous battle, continuous war between the forces of Dharma and the forces of Adharma, and the ultimate victory of the forces of Dharma against the collective negativity of the society. So let us now prepare ourselves to witness this great event today, which is going to be celebrated all over KAILASA, in all the temples and spiritual embassies all around the world, with the enactment of the Surasamharam and also the puja which will be happening. So let's now head over to the celebration of Vijayotsavam.
We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening, having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I will give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality. Shivoham. We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening, having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I will give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality. Shivoham. We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening, having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I will give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality. Shivoham. We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening, having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I'll give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality. Shivoham. We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening, having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality. Shivoham. We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening, having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night,
Nithyananda, KAILASA welcomes you to the grand Vijayotsavam celebrations. Today is celebrated as the Hindu Holocaust Day or the Anti-Spiritual Elements Suicide Day in Kailasas around the world. At this very moment, we will be offering the Shatru Samharam. It will be taking place recreating the ultimate defeat of the Adharmic forces of the Hindu Holocaust, the Hindumisic negative forces and the anti-spiritual elements who sought to destroy all Hindu traditions and undermine the sacred mission of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Nithyananda Paramashivam, of reviving Sanatana Hindu Dharma. Today, we go back in time to the time of the Devi Mahatmyam, when the tyrannical demon Mahishasura started laughing in a spree of delusion and thinking that he won the battle. He started laughing at Chandika Parameshwari. At that moment, Devi graces and tells to him, Garja Garja Kshanam Mudha Madhuyavat Pibamyaham Mayatvayi Hatetreva Garjishyantyashu Devataha. Fool, laugh you, but for only another moment you will laugh. As you will be slain by me, after I have completed this divine drink, after which here in this very place, the gods and the goddesses will be laughing and celebrating. In 2500 BC, Hinduism flourished magnificently across vast swaths of Asia, stretching over 6 million square kilometers. It held sway as the state religion in a staggering 56 nations, governing 200 states, 1,700 provinces, nurturing 10,000 rich Hindu sampradayas, Hindu traditions. Yet, the relentless march of time witnessed a dark chapter unfold. Over 2 millennia, a brutal and barbaric cultural genocide orchestrated by Adharmic forces claimed the lives of over 500 million innocent souls. By the dawn of the 21st century, the once thriving landscape of 56 Hindu nations had been ruthlessly wiped off the face of the earth, leaving behind a void of spiritual and cultural heritage. Amidst this stark reality, a beacon of hope emerged in the form of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the living manifestation of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Sri Nithyananda Paramashivam, who embarked on a monumental mission in the year 2000 to resurrect KAILASA, the enlightened Hindu civilization. By the year 2007, the sovereign territory was secured, and this started sparking anger and violence in the anti-spiritual adversaries. However, the adversaries' fury only fueled their own demise. In the year 2010, a barrage of lawfare and malicious attacks, including over 100 assassination attempts targeted towards the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. Yet, justice prevailed as courts dismissed a staggering 200 false cases, imposed hefty penalties against the conspirators and the complicit media houses. The tables turned swiftly as the cosmic justice manifested. It was all the orchestrated assaults against the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism unraveled the perpetrators themselves. They were caught. Over 100 assassination attempts failed miserably, striving as a stark reminder of the cosmic justice that defaults on those who dare to challenge the incarnation of Paramashiva. After attacking the incarnation of Paramashiva, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, the anti-spiritual elements ultimately got destroyed by their own karma. Today, we witness the ritual of the Shatru Samharam, a powerful ritual that recreates the ultimate glorious victory of cosmic justice of the Cosmic Mother herself, Devi Nithyanandeshwari Paramashiva Shakti, and the destruction of the demonic entities by her divine Leela, the inevitable victory of Dharma over the anti-spiritual forces, ensuring the triumph of divine will and cosmic order. On this day of Vijayotsavam, celebrating the victories, the Hindu Holocaust Observance Day, while we stand in solidarity with the 500 million innocent lives lost during the Hindu Holocaust, we also witness the divine reenactment of the ultimate truth of cosmic justice of Devi Nithyanandeshwari Paramashiva Shakti, the divine cosmic mother. Today, in the cosmic court, justice will be delivered. In the cosmic court of Devi, we have gathered all the protective and ferocious forms of Paramashiva, Kala Bhairava, Tripurantakar, Gajasamhara Murti, Kalasamhara Murti, and the Utsava Vigraha of the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism. We now enter the Shatru Samharam, recreating the moment of cosmic justice. By observing and officiating this ritual, we pledge our protection and the revival of the world's most ancient spiritual traditions on the planet Earth as Sanatana Hindu Dharma. We will now begin the rituals of the Vijayotsavam Shatru Samharam.
नित्यानन्दं परमसुखदं केवलं ज्ञानमूर्तिं द्वन्द्वातीतं गगनसदृशं तत्त्वमस्यादिलक्ष्यम् एकं नित्यं विमलमचलं सर्वधी साक्षिभूतं भावातीतं त्रिगुणरहितं सद्गुरुं त्वं नमामि। नित्यानन्देश्वर परमशिवसमारम्भाम् नित्यानन्देश्वरी परमशिवशक्तिमध्यमाम् नित्यानन्दपर्यन्ताम् वन्दे गुरुपरम्पराम्। ललाटे त्रिपुण्ड्रे नीलकृतकस्तूरीतिलकः स्फुरन्मालाधारस्फुरितकटिकौपी नवसनः तथा नोदुस्तारम् शिरसि वनिराजम् शशिकलाम् प्रदीपः सर्वेषाम् अरुणगिरियोगी विजयते। ॐ गणानां त्वा गणपतिगुं हवामहे कविं कवीनामुपमश्रवस्तमम् ज्येष्ठराजं ब्रह्मणां ब्रह्मणस्पतः न शृण्वन्नोतिभिः सीदसादनम्। ॐ श्रीमहागणपतये नमः। ॐ Now we'll be offering the Arati, the offering of the Deeparadhana to Devi Paramashiva Shakti, Devi Nithyanandeshwari Paramashiva Shakti, the Supreme Pontiff of Hinduism, Bhagavan Shri Nityananda Paramashiva, Bhagavan Kala Bhairava and all the other deities who are present in the Standila in the Adi KAILASA Nithyananda Sarvajna Peetham now. Om बर्हण्येष्ट्यायजते इमां जनतागुं सङ्गृह्णानीति द्वादशारत्ने रचना भवति 12 मासाः संवत्सरः संवत्सरमेवावरुन्धे मौञ्जी भवति ऊर्ध्वै मुञ्जाः ऊर्जमेवावरुन्धे चित्रा नक्षत्रं भवति चित्रं वा एतत् कर्म ॐ सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते सृष्टिस्थितिविनाशानां शक्तिभूते सनातने गुणाश्रये गुणमये नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते शरणागत दीनार्थ परित्राणपरायणे सर्वस्यार्ति हरे देवी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते कर्पूरगौरं करुणावतारं संसारसारं भुजगेन्द्रहारं सदा वसन्तं हृदयारविन्दे भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि भवं भवानी सहितं नमामि। श्री नित्यानंदेश्वरी परमशिव शक्ति नमः। सर्वदेव देवी स्वरूपाय भगवते श्री नित्यानंद परमशिवाय नमः। सर्वाभ्यो देवताभ्यो नमो नमः। सर्वोपचारार्थे सर्वमंगलवाप्यर्थे सर्वापराधक्षमापणार्थे शत्रुसंहारणार्थे कर्पूर नीराजनं सन्दर्शयामि रक्षां धारयामि।
भूत्यर्भानुसहस्रकान्तिमरुणक्षौमां शिरोमालिकां रक्तालिप्तपयोधरां जपवटीं विद्यामभीतिं वरम् हस्ताब्जेर्दधतीं त्रिनेत्रविलसद्वक्तारविन्दश्रियं देवीं बद्धैमां सुरत्नमकुटां वन्दे रविन्दस्थिताम्। ॐ नमश्चण्डिकायै। ॐ ऋषिर्वाच
निहन्यमानं
तत्सैन्यमवलोकमहासुरः सेनानी शिक्षुरः कोपाद्ययो योद्धुमदाम्बिकाम् स देवीं सरवर्षेण ववर्ष समरे सुरः यथा मेरुगिरे शृङ्गं तोयवर्षेण तोयदः तस्य छित्त्वा ततो देवी लीलयैव शरोत्करान् जघानदुरगान् वाणैरन्तारं चैदवानिजाम् चिच्छेद च धनुःसद्यो ध्वजं छाति समुच्चितं विव्याध चैव गात्रेषु छिन्नधन्वादमासुकिः
सच्चिन्वधन्वाभिरथो हताश्वो हतसारथिः अभ्यधावतां देवीं खड्गचर्मधरोऽसुरः सिंहमाहत्य खड्गेन तीक्ष्णधारेण मूर्धनीम् आजघान भुजे सव्ये देवीमप्यतिवेगवान् तस्या खड्गो भुजं प्राप्य बफाल नृपनन्दन ततो जग्राह शूलं च कोपादनुनलोचनः चिच्छेप च ततस्तस्तु भद्रकाल्यां महासुरः जाज्वल्यमानं तेजोभिरविबिम्बमिमाम्बरात् दृष्ट्वा तदा पतच्छूलं देवी शूलममुञ्चत तच्छूलं स तथा तेन नीतं स च महासुरः हते तस्मिन् महावीर्ये महिषस्य च मूपगौ
आजगामगजारूढश्चामरस्त्रिदशार्दनः सोऽपि शक्तिं मुमोचाथ देव्यास्तामम्बिका धृतम् हुङ्काराभिहताम् भूमौ पातयामास निष्प्रभाम् भग्नां शक्तिं निपतितां दृष्ट्वा क्रोधसमन्वितः चिक्षेप चामरशूलं बाणैस्तदपि साच्छिनत् ततः सिंहसमुत्पद्य गजकुम्भान्तरे स्थितः बाहुयुद्धेन युयुधे तेनोश्चैस्त्रिदशारिणा युध्यमानौ ततस्तौ तु तस्मान्नागान्महीगतौ युयुधाते त्रिसंरब्धौ प्रहारैरतिदारुणैः ततो वेगात्कमुत्पत्य निपत्य च मृगारिणा करप्रहारेण शिरश्चामरस्य पृथक् कृतम् उदग्रश्चरणे देव्या शिलावृक्षादिभिर्हतः दन्तमुष्टितलैश्चैव करालश्च निपातितः देवी क्रुद्धागतापातैश्चूर्णयामास चोद्धतम् बाष्कलम् भिन्दिपालेन बाणैस्ताम्रम् तथान्धकम् ॐ सर्वाबाधा प्रशमनं त्रैलोक्यस्याखिलेश्वरे एवमेव त्वया कार्यम् अस्मद्वैरिविराजनम् ॐ सर्वाबाधा प्रशमनं त्रैलोक्यस्याखिलेश्वरे एवमेव त्वया कार्यम् अस्मद्वैरिविराजनम् ॐ सर्वाबाधा प्रशमनं त्रैलोक्यस्याखिलेश्वरे एवमेव त्वया कार्यम् अस्मद्वैरिविनाशनम् ॐ देव्याः ते तत्र महासुरेन्द्रे सेन्द्रासुरावह्नि पुरोगमास्ताम् कात्यायनीं दुष्टुवरिष्ठलाभात् विकाशिवक्त्राब्ज विकासिताशाः देवी प्रपन्नार्तिहरे प्रसीद प्रसीद मातर्जगतोऽखिलस्य प्रसीद विश्वेश्वरि पाहि विश्वम् त्वमीश्वरी देवि चराचरस्य आधारभूता जगतस्त्वमेका महीस्वरूपेण यथस्थितासि अपां स्वरूपस्य दया त्वयैतत् दाप्यायते गङ्गमलङ्घवीर्ये विश्वस्य बीजं परमासि माया सम्मोहितं देवि समस्तमेतत् त्वं वै प्रसन्ना भुवि मुक्तिहेतुः विद्या समस्तास्तव देवि वेदाः प्रिया समस्ता सकला जगत्सु त्वयैकया पूरितमम्बयैतत् काते स्तुतिस्तव्यपरा परोक्तिः सर्वभूतायता देवी स्वर्गमुक्तिप्रदायिनी त्वं स्तुता स्तुतये का वा भवन्तु परमोक्तयः सर्वस्य बुद्धिरूपेण जनस्य हृदि संस्थिते स्वर्गापवर्गते देवी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते कलाकाष्ठादिरूपेण परिणामप्रदायिनी विश्वस्योपरतो शक्ते नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते सर्वमङ्गलमाङ्गल्ये शिवे सर्वार्थसाधिके शरण्ये त्र्यम्बके गौरी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते सृष्टिस्थितिविनाशानां शक्तिभूते सनातनी गुणाश्रये गुणमये नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते शरणागतदीनार्थपरित्राणपरायणे सर्वस्याद्यहरे देवी नारायणि नमोऽस्तुते गिरिनन्दिनि नन्दितमेदिनि विश्वविनोदिनि नन्दनुते गिरिवरविन्ध्यशिरोधिनि वासिनि विष्णुविलादिनि जिष्णुनुते भगवति हेर्दिति कण्ठकुटुम्बिनि भूरि कुटुम्बिनि भूरि कृते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते सुरवरहर्षिणि दुर्धरधर्षिणि दुर्मुखमर्षिणि हर्षरते त्रिभुवनपोषिणि शङ्करतोषिणि कल्मषमोषिनि घोषरते धनुजनिरोषिणि दितिसुतरोषिणि दुर्मदशोषिणि सिन्धुसुते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते ऐ जगदम्ब मदम्ब कदम्ब वन प्रियवासिनि हासरते शिखरि शिरोमणि तुंग हिमालय शृंग निजालय मध्यगते मधु मधुरे मधु कैटभ गंजिनि कैटभ भंजिनि रासरते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्धिनि रम्यकपर्धिनि शैलसुते ऐ शतखण्ड विखण्डित रुण्ड वितुण्डित शुण्ड गजाधिपते रिपु गज गण्ड विदारण चण्ड पराक्रम शुण्ड मृगाधिपते निज भुज दण्ड निपाटित चण्ड निपाटित मुण्ड भटाधिपते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते ऐरण दुर्मद शत्रुवधोधित दुर्धर निर्जर शक्तिभृते चतुर विचार धुरीण महाशय दूतकृत प्रमथाधिपते दुरित दुरीह दुराशय दुर्मति दानव दूत कृतान्तमते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते ऐ निजहुंकृति मात्र निराकृत धूम्र विलोचन धूम्रशते समर विशोषित शोणित बीज समुद्भव शोणित बीजलते शिव शिव शुंभ निशुंभ महाहवतर्पित भूत पिशाचपते जय जय हे महिषासुरमर्दिनि रम्यकपर्दिनि शैलसुते शोणाद्रीशावताराय ज्योतिस्तंभस्वरूपिणे श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् तत्त्वज्ञानप्रदाताय नित्यानन्देश्वररूपिणे श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् मूलप्रकृतिरूपाय परमशिवशक्तिस्वरूपिणे श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् दण्डत्रिशूलहस्ताय कालकालस्वरूपिणे श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् आदिपूज्याय देवाय सकृत्पूर्णत्वरूपिणे श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् सर्वाभयविनाशकाय शत्रुसंहाररूपिणे श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् योगभट्टाभिषिक्ताय राजसन्न्यासधारिणे श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् सार्वभौमैकपत्याय राजराजार्चिताय च श्रीकैलासप्रधानाय नित्यानन्दाय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलम् कल्पवृक्षाय मङ्गलम् ज्ञानदायिने परमशिवाय श्रीनित्यानन्देश्वराय मङ्गलम् मङ्गलम् श्रीविद्याम्बायै मङ्गलम् कामदायिन्यै सर्वमङ्गलदात्री नित्यानन्देश्वर्यै मङ्गलम् मङ्गलम् गुरुदेवाय मोक्षमूलाय मङ्गलम् परमावताराय नित्यानन्दाय गुरवे मङ्गलम् त्वं स्मृतमहं धन्य मम प्राणमहेश्वर गङ्गाधरमेति स्तोत्रस्थानं ददाम्यहम् हरिः ओम् तत्सत् सर्वं भगवत् श्री नित्यानन्द परमशिव पादुकार्पणमस्तु ॐ नित्यानन्दम्
We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening. Having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I will give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality. Shivoham. We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening. Having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I will give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality. Shivoham. We are on the exact time of Mahashivaratri.
Shivaya Namah. Shivaya Namah. Shivaya.
Waking will happen if you sleep well in the nights. Tonight, if you don't sleep, awakening will happen. This night is used for experiencing awakening. Having this right understanding about you as the basic cognition for life is what I call awakening. On this great Shiva's night, the right introduction I will give for you about you is this one word, Shivoham. Shivoham means if you feel you exist, you are Shiva. I bless you all. Let you all experience the reality.